Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this session where we will tell you about the Master Biomedical Sciences in Leiden. And my name is Jolanda van der Zee. I'm the Program Director and I'm joined this afternoon by Hester Bootsma, our Program Advisor.
Good afternoon.
What we would like to do today with you is introduce you to our program and invite you to visit our Q&A sessions after this presentation. Of course, ask your questions. And each Q&A session will also be introduced by a master student. I'm sure that at the end of this session, there's also time to ask some questions. So if you want to do that, you can do that as well. And of course, invite you to visit our website and mail us your question. First of all, we would like to tell you how you can join us with your questions and what we would like to ask from you. Esther?
Yeah, so this should be the picture that you have. So you have for me, the left-hand side, you will see our presentation, and on the right you will have the presenter's role, indicated by the red circle. And there you have two tabs. You can go to the next one, Yolanda. The live tab, and this you can use to answer the questions that we will pose to you, because we have a few questions for you during this presentation. And then next you have the Q&A tab. And there you can submit your questions that you want to ask us at the end of this talk, or if a question pops to mind during the talk, you can already type it there.
As Hester mentioned already, we would like to ask you something, because we're very interested what your background is. And please tell us what your bachelor program is, or maybe was. So are you from the bachelor program at the LMC? Bachelor Biomedical Sciences outside Leiden, but in the Netherlands. A bachelor program other in Leiden, other in the Netherlands, outside the Netherlands, or maybe a HBO bachelor. So please let us know what your background is.
Okay, I see the answers coming in right now. There's still a lot of people that still need to answer, I think. At the moment, well, we have about 25% that's Bachelor Biomedical Science outside of Leiden. So we have only very few students from the LMC at the moment, at least that have answered this question. We have also, well, the answers are fluctuating obviously, but there's about 30% now that does their bachelor in Leiden, but not biomedical sciences directly. There's also 13% of international students that joined this session, which is nice to hear, and quite a few students with an HBO bachelor program.
Okay, so then we have a bit of an idea on your background, which is really nice to know. And first of all, we would like to tell you something on the aims of our master program, because we think that it is very important that our master program let you think about and investigate your future and your future career perspectives, and thereby offer you opportunities to look in and outside academics. Furthermore, we would like to offer you opportunities to perform research, of course, because we are a research master, that is related to the maintenance of health and prevention of disease. And how are we going to do that? Or how would we like to do that? We want to train you to address scientific and societal challenges in the interdisciplinary field of biomedical sciences. And of course, we would like to give you a set of skills suitable for a wide range of career opportunities, not only in biomedical research, but also in industry, policy making, communication, and/or education. And it is a very exciting field of research, and we already know that because, of course, due to the COVID pandemic, life sciences and biomedical sciences are very interesting for a lot of people. So what are we looking at? Well, biomedical sciences focuses on questions regarding the healthy as well as the disease state in humans. And we can do that by studying processes at the level of molecules, cells, organs, humans, and also on population level. So that gives us a whole range of opportunities to investigate all kinds of interesting processes. And thereby we combine also elements from biology, chemistry, pharmacy, physics, and mathematics. We combine that with medical sciences. So again, a wide range of problems that we can try to solve and study in this field of biomedical sciences. And actually, we would like to ask you what challenges are faced at the moment by biomedical sciences, and what do you think are the problems that we have to solve in the future or maybe the near future? So join us with your ideas on what challenges are we facing.
Yeah, so please go to presenters wall again and type in a word that you associate with this question. So the first one is data processing. That's definitely a very hot item, bioinformatics, data analysis, for sure. So what else? We know there's a little bit delay in what we see and what you type in, so
This is interesting. There's one problem we face.
yeah.
Data.
So really, you think this is there we go.
Yeah.
Therapy resistance. Yes, for
Oh,
sure.
there they're coming.
Long COVID complications. Yeah, that's a very a few years, like 2 years when we did this for first time online, COVID was the first thing that came up, but now we know more about the complications long term. So that's certainly a challenge, not only for biomedical scientists, but for physicians as well, I think. Molecular pathways, bacterial resistance, that ties into therapy resistance, obviously. Pandemics. Well, hopefully we don't see too many of these, but...
Oh, there they're coming.
Public skepticism, that's also a nice one. It's not really something we can solve maybe as biomedical scientists, but maybe it's important to keep in mind how to address this.
Yeah, communication.
Yeah.
Oh, cancer.
Vaccination, gene therapy, engineering, rapid mutations, well that's also very timely of course with the new Omicron variants that we have. Personalized medicine, that's also certainly of today.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I think we have, there's still some answers coming in, but...
Yeah, personalized medicine is this mentioned several times again.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. So we have thought about this as well, and also we have in our next slide, we have collected some buzzwords, and the viral infections, of course, that's very important. We're all aware, and you are mentioning that as well. So what does the body do to fight viral infections? What molecular or physiological mechanisms are involved in the development or regression of cancer? Definitely also something that popped up in your word cloud. Develop treatments for neurological decline in an aging population, also a big challenge. New methods for diagnosing and analyzing genetic defects, also within your word cloud. Stem cell therapy, I don't think I saw anything on that. Regenerative medicine, of course, is also a very interesting subject. And of course, one of the main questions we pose, of course, how is biomedical knowledge best translated to actual treatment of patients? And of course, the well-known slogan from bench to bedside. And we would like to ask you, would you like to address these issues, these challenges, these problems as a scientist in or outside academics? Or would you like to do this, for example, as a policymaker, a communicator, or maybe an educator? So keep that in mind. How would you like to address these issues? Because you can do that in a lot of different ways. So in order to address that, I would like to tell you something more about our master program. Hopefully you have had a quick look on our website already before you joined this session, but let me tell you the basics. It's a 2-year master program. It's full-time, so it's 120 EC, which you will collect in these 2 years. It is at the LUMC, that is an academic medical center, and we have 2 starting dates, September and February, but what we see is that the majority of the students start in September. The language of our program is English, and we have a maximum of 100 students per year. Well, the hospital, the Leiden University Medical Center, of course, has patient care, scientific research, and education. Thus, all these activities take place in this medical center. And we have approximately 7,000 employees, and I think already over 2,600 students. In medicine, biomedical sciences, we have both bachelor and master programs there. Master Pharmacy, Vitality and Aging, also a master program, and Clinical Technology is bachelor and master. So we have a lot of students, well, at the moment, not all running around in the LMC because of all the problems with COVID. So it's a small number of students are coming back on campus, fortunately. We also have a lot of PhD students in the LMC. There's a lot of research going on, and approximately 140 PhD students graduate each year. I already mentioned briefly that there's a lot of research going on, a lot of PhD students, and there are several research themes in the LMC, and I've listed them here for you, and you can see that's a broad spectrum of research themes that are performed in the LMC, from immunity and infection to medical genomics, cancer, immunity, so very broad profiles that you can investigate. And of course, we also have life course research in aging and all the problems that are faced there. And of course, becoming more and more important, prevention and lifestyle. How can we affect the health of people by prevention and giving them information on their lifestyle? So there's a lot of research going on in the LMC in a variety of subjects. So how can you study research and everything that is related to that in our 2-year program? It's very important to realize that the first year of the program is dedicated to biomedical sciences. And all students follow this first year. What they do within this first year, that varies, but important that all students in the first year also perform a research internship of 20 weeks. So take that into account, that you have to do a research internship in your first master year. Besides that, we have a lot of so-called Frontiers of Science courses, and these courses actually deal with the frontiers of science of the various research themes in the LUMC. And you choose some of them. Besides that, we have some mandatory courses, and those actually take place at the start of the master year. So there is a course on how to write a research proposal, a course on R, statistics and molecular epidemiology. So very basic knowledge that is very important on the rest of your master program. And we have a small course, a short course on scientific conduct. I already mentioned that you think it's very important that you think about your future and your future career perspective. So during the master program, we have a short line module that deals with career orientation and everything that we, encourage you to think about and also do a little investigation. And then we have an elective area where you can follow some additional courses or maybe extend your internship. And in the second year, you will choose your specialization. And there I come back to my question earlier in my presentation. Would you like to address the issues we mentioned, that we think the challenges that biomedical scientists are facing? Would you like to address these issues as a scientist in or outside academics, for example, as a policymaker, a communicator, or maybe as an educator? And these are important questions that you can ask yourself. I like biomedical sciences. How would I like to do and to work in the future in this field? And we have various specializations that you can choose in the second year. Either you can choose the research specialization, and at the moment about 60% of our students choose for this specialization. We have the management, the business specialization. About 25% of our students choose for this. Communication and education, about 10%. And we have the health, that's a combination with medical studies in Leiden, and that's also about 10% of our students. So these are all the opportunities that we offer, and we ask the students to think about that, what they would like to do in their second master year. Well, what do these specializations entail? Well, the research specialization, it has a course in laboratory animal sciences. We have a large internship. So your first internship is 20 weeks and your second one is at least 28. You can extend that with your elective area. You write a proposal prior to the start of your internship, and you also write a scientific review on a subject related but not the same as your second internship. And that is the second year you fill that with all these activities. So really research related. If we look at the management specialization, the business studies, this program is organized together with the business studies and science-based business group at the Faculty of Science. And this program consists of a number of business courses, and those are organized by SBB. Also, again, a second internship, but now in business. So completely different than from a lab internship, but it's in business. And of course, you write also a short proposal beforehand, and you can also choose from some electives that the Faculty of Science offers in this program. If you are interested in what the program entails and what kind of courses they are offering, will have an information session tomorrow, so you can look at that and join them to learn more about the courses that they offer. The internship will be followed from outside this biomedical sciences program. The communication specialization is also together with the Faculty of Science and is similarly set up as the management specialization. So the courses are organized by Science, Communication and Society. You do an internship in communication. And again, you have a proposal as a preparation for your communication internship, which always includes a short research project as well, but in communication related issues. And if you are interested in this program, they also have an information session tomorrow, so you can hear more about the courses that they organize and what kind of internships students perform in the communication specialization. So please join them tomorrow. Then we have the education specialization. It's very important to realize that this is offered in Dutch, so you have to be fluent in Dutch. And this program consists of courses and teaching actually biology at a high school. And also they have info sessions tomorrow, so look that up as well if you're interested. And we have the health specialization, and please realize that this is only in combination with a Master of Medicine in Leiden. So you have to be accepted in this program, otherwise you cannot do the health specialization. And you may understand that if you combine this with a Master of Medicine, that the Dutch language is required, of course. And this consists of a research internship and a clinical elective. So maybe you have looked at the information that we offered on the website, and have you already thought about the particular specialization, or maybe hearing this information you come to an idea. So we would like to ask you, have you interest in one of the specializations specifically, or are you still undecided? So let us know where your interests are.
So the first answers are coming in. And right now, the vast majority is interested in the research specialization, but we only have a few answers yet. So there's also quite a few that are undecided. I think you will come back to that, Yolanda, which
yes, I will.
Is of course quite all right if you don't know yet. This is also what your first year is for, to see what you want to do. But still, out of the 20-something prospective students, now we have a few management. Like you're very scientist-oriented audience.
Don't feel obliged to there. I think there is
quite all right if you
yeah, there is. I think there's a big delay.
Yeah.
Or at least a delay of half a minute or a minute maybe. So, well, what we see is the majority is interested in research, and a lot of you are still undecided. So that's no problem.
Yeah.
because I already anticipated that a lot of you might be undecided. And as Hester already mentioned, that's absolutely no problem because you have not to decide before you enroll in our program, but you decide during the first year or actually even at the beginning of the second year. Because so you can, for example, follow a couple of courses in the management or communication and specialization and then decide what direction you would like to take. So what we see that a lot of students are interested in research or in management, and they are really do a lot of thinking on what kind of direction they would like to go. Again, also communication and research, there are a lot of students hesitating whether they want to go in the research direction or in the communication direction. So of course, we also give information on these choices as well during our first year, and even at the beginning of the second year, we also help you finding your way. Well, of course, you are joining, I assume, a lot of information sessions, not only in Leiden, but also maybe at other universities. So, of course, we can ask the question, why would you choose biomedical sciences in Leiden? And of course, we are enthusiastic, but we try to give you some pointers in our direction. And we think that it's a nice opportunity to offer different specializations within one master program. So you can make choices within this master program. You do not have to change a master, but you can within the same master and you can make your choice and graduate with a Master of Science diploma. Small group sizes and individual training. All our Frontiers of Science courses are with small groups of students, so there's a lot of interaction with the tutors. We think our Frontiers of Science courses in particular have a high quality of material, and our research, of course, in internships and in any way we offer it, we think that it's of high quality. There's a flexibility in our program. I will show you a little bit about that later on in the presentation. You study multiple subjects because we have 2 internships, and these internships have to be on different subjects. The research facilities in the LMC are modern and state-of-the-art. And hopefully the opportunities for students to go to do research abroad will increase, and borders are opening up again. So there are some grants to facilitate exchange. And we also have an exchange program with Heidelberg and also with Karolinska in Sweden. We think it's very important that there's a broad focus on career orientation in and outside academics, and we are of course located next to the Leiden Bioscience Park, and there are great job opportunities there. A flexible program, but you will start together. So the start of the master, and I show you the courses in September. As I mentioned, the majority of the students start in September. So we will start with these small mandatory courses, how to write a research proposal, combined with some basic information on our program, and a great way to get to know people and learn how to start your master in the LMC. We have a short course on scientific conduct, and then we have a 4-week course, clinical research and practice, and that is the course that deals with R, statistics, and the epidemiology. So we do that all together. So that is really nice. That is actually the only time that we really have a large group of students at the same time at the LMC for this master program, because after that you start choosing your Frontiers of Science courses, and we offer multiple of these courses at the same time. So you see already that there are a limited number of students that can join these courses, and this is just an example. The completely year program is not set yet, and so then you choose one of these courses, and you do that in a small group of students. And then again, in the next period, November, December, again, we offer courses, but you can also decide to start with an internship. Usually, students choose 2 or 3 FOSS courses within those 2 years, depending on their interest and their planning. And we should, of course, as I mentioned, we also offer courses later in the study year and even in the second semester. The timing of your first internship is flexible, depends also on your choices in FOS courses. If you want to do additional FOS courses, for example, in December or January, you will start later with your internship. It completely depends on what you're interested in, but you can also start earlier and break your internship for a course. After selection and admission, we will help you plan your first year, so we will have multiple online information sessions. They will be organized during June to August, and of course all the information will be mailed to the participants as well. And I already mentioned your specialization. Yeah, you can even think about it until the beginning or even after some courses in the second year. So there's ample time to think about your specialization as well. And we think it's very good that you think about your career or maybe take some short elective courses. In the Q&A sessions later this afternoon, students will tell their story and what choices they have made, what courses they have chosen, internships they have performed or are still performing, and what their ideas on their future career are. So please join us there, because then you can ask them questions as well. Well, then it's important, the admission and selection procedure. Maybe Hester, you are the expert.
Okay, well, first off, as mentioned here, all this information you can find on our website. So if you haven't read it already, please go there and check. You have to submit your application through StudyLink, and then you upload all your documents in the portal USIS that you will get access to after you've submitted your application through StudyLink. And also very important, the deadline for application is April 1st, so you still have a few weeks. And there may be different deadlines for visa and scholarships. But if you want to join us next September, please submit your application before the 1st of April in StudyLink, and you'll then have about a week to complete your application in USIS. We have a maximum of 100 students each year, and we will most likely have a selection placement procedure because for the past years, we've had more applicants than we can place. And you will hear, if this is the case, in the beginning of May, then you will hear whether or not you are conditionally admitted. And one of the conditions will then always be that you have to be offered a place in our program as well. And we will perform this procedure in May, and you will then hear about this the end of May 2022. We try to do this as soon as possible, but we need some time to complete this process. And then there's also quite a few HBO bachelors listening to us. So if you have a bachelor from a HBO university in the Netherlands, you can only be admitted to the master after following a pre-master year. This pre-master lasts 1 year, and so you can only start it in September. Also here you can find more information on our website, but you still have to submit your application through StudyLink, and then you apply for the Bachelor Biomedische Wetenschappen. And very important, you choose the option not first year, so you select a higher year, and then you can continue with your application. Here also the deadline is April 1st. And we have a maximum of 10 places available for this program each year. You have to be able to speak Dutch because not all courses are offered in English yet. And so if we have more candidates than we have places available, then again we'll perform a selection procedure. And the timing of that is pretty much the same. So we'll decide this in May once we know how many applicants we have, and we try to decide on this by the end of May. The good thing is, if you have successfully completed this pre-master program, you are guaranteed a place in our master program the next year. So in this case, that would mean study year 2023-24. So once you're in the pre-master program and you've successfully completed it, you are guaranteed a placement in the master.
Well, what we look at when you apply for a place in a master, we look at some important subjects. We consider that it's important that you have in-depth knowledge, understanding and skills in molecular biology, immunology, pathology, neuroscience and basic statistics and epidemiology. that you have practical laboratory experience and several months of research projects, so that you have done a bachelor project, for example, with a research question that you have addressed and that you have worked on that for several months. So it's very important that you have this experience as well. And of course, English is also very important. All this information is available on the website, so you can go through it and see what kind of information you have to provide if you think that you are eligible, but you are not sure, and then you have to provide this information so that our admission committee can look at what you information that you provide and decide whether you are admissible or not. Well, then we had admission, then you have done the master, and of course it's also an important question is what happens after graduation? Well, almost 100% of our graduates has a paid job. This is very fortunate. 75%, and at the moment maybe even quicker, because these data are, of course, are a little bit older, and approximately 90% in a year. And at the moment it's actually pretty good, all the job market for life science graduates, so it might even be a little bit higher than this. We still see that the majority of our students choose for a PhD position. Well, that fits also a little bit with a lot of students of you that indicate that you are interested in the research specialization. So we see about 60% choose for a PhD position. That can be in the LUMC, in the Netherlands, or even abroad. Of course, international students, they sometimes go back to the country, but also they stay in the Netherlands to do a PhD here. You can also look for a position in a research environment outside academics, a company, for example. And of course, there are all kinds of junior positions in the pharmaceutical industry, startups, and at consultancies, for example, junior positions in policy making, in ministries, institutions, or patients organizations. We have junior positions in the area of communication that can be in musea, but it can also be in completely other type of organization. And we also see, of course, graduates that go teaching. Check our alumni stories on the website and for more information and some examples of what our graduates have decided to do after they finish this master program. If you have more questions and you want to talk to students that are in the program at the moment, we have 3 separate Q&A sessions. So for international students, also with an international student there, we have a session for HBO students, also with HBO, or students, master students that have done the HBO before our master. And do you fall in another category, you can join the all other students Q&A session and post your questions there. And I think we still have some time in this session. So you can already start posting your questions in relationship to this presentation on the website, and we will see how we can answer them as well. And of course, please go to our website, and you can always mail us. We try to answer you as quickly as possible, and so ask your questions there as well. We usually advise to do that if you have a really particular question on the program, your bachelor program, because it's very difficult to quite often to answer that in a Q&A. Then we usually advise you to mail, because then we can have more time to look in your situation. I already see a question.
Yes, so we have a few questions already. So one from Aliki. And you actually didn't go into this. So regarding the pandemic, will the master be in a virtual or a hybrid virtual and in presence format? Jolanda, you want to?
Yeah, we aim on, we are hopeful that things remain or will improve. So we will be on campus. So we will not be in a virtual environment. So we expect, unless really, I don't know, dreadful things will happen, but we will be on campus in September. So it's very important that we will ask you to come to Leiden. So you cannot do this master staying far away abroad. You have to come to Leiden. So please realize that as well.
Yeah. And then the second part of the question was, I think you mentioned this, but when does one have to submit their specialization?
Later in the master. So we will ask you usually at the end of the first year or beginning second year, we will ask you to submit your choice, but then you can still change your mind. Actually, at the end of the master, you indicate, I want to graduate in the research specialization, and then we check whether you have done anything that is necessary and required for the research specialization. If you say, I want to graduate in a management specialization, then we check whether you have done anything that is required for that specialization. So you can wait a long time.
Yeah. And then there's actually two of the same type of questions by Fleur and Jolie. How many applicants are there each year, and do we have to reject some?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah, you go ahead, Esther.
That's of course a bit koffiedik kijken, as we would like to say in the Netherlands. It's hard to predict, but like I said, we have more than 100 applicants for the past 3 years at least. Well, one thing is whether you're admissible or not. That's one, and people can also. We have a board of admissions that judges all our applications. So they look at your background, if you have the right profile, if you meet the entry requirements. So the first step is either you are admitted or you are rejected, and then for those of you who are admitted, we will probably have the selection placement procedure, and then we can offer you a place or not. But this is also a process that takes some time. So we start with the top students, and then during the summer we know that we have students that don't want to start our program after all. So we continue inviting people to our program for quite some time actually. But in the end, we might have to reject a few students if we don't have enough places.
Yeah, but our experience is that the majority of students can be placed, I guess.
Yeah.
But that is our experience from the previous year. We can never predict because we do not know how many people will apply and how many of those students also really will come to Leiden, because we still see that students change their mind. So it's very hard to predict, but our experience so far is that the majority of students can be placed.
Yeah.
So do not let it withhold you from applying.
No, definitely not.
And there's a question, I did not mention it, but there is a question, can both internships be done abroad? That is indeed possible. We do not have the rule that you have to do one of the internships at the LMC. You can do one in the LMC, you can one do outside the LMC, you can do both outside the LMC. What we look at is the quality of the research that is performed at the location where you want to go. And that is checked by the internship committee.
Yeah, and then there's a question if the program is ever prolonged because a student cannot find an internship.
Yeah, usually if students study longer, then there is usually a mixture of things going on. Of course, now in the COVID period, we had some students had delays, but actually this year we were able to find internships, and students were able to find internships if they wanted to. So I don't think that at the moment we have students that are still delayed by COVID, but we also have some students that changed their program because they wanted to wait with the internship until things improved a little bit. So it's and it's also very important to take in account that you can graduate each month. So if you go into your third year, it doesn't mean that you have to study a whole year. So there are students also that graduate in September, October, November. So they extend their master program a little bit.
And then there's two questions regarding biopharmaceutical science. So first one, can you apply to this master with a bachelor in biopharmaceutical science? I think the short answer to that is yes. But then what is the difference between this master and the master biopharmaceutical sciences?
Yeah, well, regarding future prospects, I think both master programs will give you excellent future prospects. So there's not a huge difference in between that. I think the difference is we offer these Frontiers of Science courses. We also offer a course in statistics, R, and epidemiology. I don't think that is offered in the Master Biopharmaceutical Sciences, but they have other courses that might be of interest. So there's a lot of, well, similarity. The research in the LSCDR, of course, is slightly different from the research in the LMC. So it depends on what you are looking at in your master. What kind of research would you like to perform? In what area of expertise? So there is more in the detail than in a general difference. I think both programs are good. And if you pursue a PhD, both with a master in BMS or BPS, both have excellent starts for example, for a PhD. So look into more detail in what you actually would like to study and in what order if you are hesitating between these master programs. No, there is no limitation in the number of students. It's completely flexible. So it doesn't matter to us what kind of program or what specialization you choose. That's also why we can say you can wait with your choice until the second year. It doesn't matter.
Then there's a question, how are the JRP 1 or 2 internship subject locations assigned? Well, I think we don't assign internship positions. We actually ask our students to find internship positions themselves. So it's you build your own program, and this is one thing that you actually do yourself. So you find your own internship. We will help you, of course. When we have projects, we will post them, but there's no assignment of internship positions.
So if you want to focus on cancer and immunity, you can indeed do that. And look for research departments in the LMC, but also outside the LMC. It's important that you cannot do, for example, two similar projects. We want to give you a broad education. So it can be related to cancer and immunity, but the two projects have to be different from each other.
Then a question about if you're in, so I'm in the third year of biopharmaceutical sciences, and I'm not sure whether I want to start a master next year. So if you apply for the master this year and you don't want to start it, you cannot defer your placement to the next academic year. If you are placed, you can defer to a start in February of the same academic year. So if you apply for a start September 2022, you cannot take it with you to September 2023.
You have to apply again.
Yeah, you have to apply again.
And that's allowed, of course. It's not, you can apply as many times as you like.
Yes, that's definitely true, but you cannot take your placement with you to the next academic year.
More questions? Oh,
Yeah.
2-year bachelor program. Yeah, I think if you only have a 2-year program, bachelor program, please mail us, because this is something that we are not aware of, that there are 2-year programs in a bachelor degree. So please mail us, because this is very specific. So that's for Quinn An Tran, yeah. Please mail us.
If you did not finish your bachelor within 4 years, that's not a reason that you are not accepted in the program. Within the nominal duration of your bachelor plus 1 year, that's allowed. And if there are special circumstances, you will not immediately be rejected if you took a little bit longer. Of course, we are very aware of the difficulties in finding internships for the past years. So if something like this occurred, then I would advise you to make a note of this in the application form. There's a section at the end where you can write down specific circumstances that may apply to you. So if you have something that you want to share with the Board of Admissions that you haven't been able to in the rest of the application, just put it there. And then they will definitely look at it and take it into account.
Yeah. Let us know everything that is important concerning your application. Haven't done your bachelor research in the lab due to COVID restrictions. Yeah, what we think is very important that you can show us that you have done a research project. It doesn't have to be in the lab. It can also be data science, for example, but give us information that you have done a research project. You are specifically asked for that information also in the admittance documents. So please let us know what you have done and what experience you have obtained. For international students, yeah, we have 10 to 15% international students. What we see is that I think the majority would like to do a PhD in the Netherlands. That is also a reason they join our master program, and they are indeed able to find a PhD position. There are also students that go back to their home country and find a PhD position there. We also have students that are interested in a management specialization, and they find jobs at international companies as well.
Then there's a question about course laboratory animal science, where you can do this. Well, that depends actually on the number of places that are available. Most students do it in their second year, but you can try to do it in your first year. There will be much more information on how you can apply to our courses once you have applied and been accepted in our program. The program is flexible, so if there's places you can do this course in your first year, but I think this will definitely be answered during our information sessions over the summer.
Yeah, you can always, special circumstances in your planning, you can always indicate that, and we do our best.
Yeah.
How many places are there for the start in February? Well, the number of places in February are the number of places that remain after the start in September. And what we see is it usually is 10 to 15 places. But again, that is very difficult to predict because we have no idea how many people will apply and start in September. There's no fixed number of international students. So there actually doesn't matter whether you're an international student or not. We just look at your bachelor program and whether it fits the requirements and if you are admissible.
Yeah, and the English certification, the language requirement is not important for your application itself. You do have to have a sufficient English certificate before you're allowed to start the master. So you don't have to submit it with your application, but just make sure that when you're accepted, you have a sufficient certification before the start in September.
And then we have a question from an LST student. I think if you do during the minor, you do, for example, immunology or neurosciences or things like that, it will really strengthen your application. But it depends on what you do in the rest of your bachelor. And you can always mail us because then you can give us more information on what you have done.
Yeah, and in that case also an internship in the biomedical field is a plus.
Oh, then is there a specific question in the student application form? Yeah, I think just mail us and then we give you advice on how best to proceed.
Yeah, and for now just list what you know in your application form, and we may ask you for details later on, but that's okay.
It also depends on what bachelor program you're for. For example, if you're from biopharmaceutical sciences, we are aware how it works there, so we know more about that program. So it might help you as well, but I don't know. No, there is no overview of the LMC internship positions because you can do an internship everywhere. So it's basically you decide what kind of subjects you are interested in, and then you look for departments in the LMC or elsewhere and ask them whether it's possible to do an internship at their group. So there's not, I mean, of course, there's an overview of all the departments in the LMC, but there's much more out there than only in the LMC. But we will deal and give a lot of information on this late after you have been accepted in the program. But actually, it's you know, whatever is going on in the LMC and also outside there, which is sound research and fits within a biomedical science profile, that is usually acceptable as an internship. which is very nice, but of course it can also be challenges because you have to contact research groups yourself, but we also help you with that. More questions?
No, I think we've covered all of them that are there at the moment.
Okay, great.
We can wait a minute or two to see if somebody is still typing, but
Yeah. Well, again, join the Q&A sessions and talk to the students there, because they can, you know, share their experience with you and ask their more general questions on whether they enjoy it or not, and how they dealt with the application process. So please join us there. And I think it's about time that we say thank you for your attention. If there are no further questions,
no, I don't see anything.
Mail us if you have additional questions, of course. And I think with that, I would like to close this session.
Thank you all.
Okay, bye-bye.